Now you have Trump saying, I mediated the deal. I'm willing to now sit down with both sides and settle Kashmir for the future, 1,000 years, as he put it. So I come back to the question of the deterrence. That has this actually ensured that? Or could Pakistan actually turn around and say, listen, we've managed to hit back. And we've also managed to bring in, we managed to internationalize it.
First, let's admit that Pakistan needs to be able to say that. If they cannot step down with something like honor being satisfied, quote unquote,
sure.
They will have a continued reason for future belligerence. So we should accept there will be some statements on the Pakistani side that we won't like, but let them say it for the benefit of their public and let this thing dial down.
Okay.
But as far as Mr. Trump's statement is concerned, look, Mr. Trump is very unusual for most American presidents because he does say things that I'm not quite sure he can entirely claim credit for. To the best of my knowledge, and I don't have access to anything classified, but I'm a fairly plugged in and clued in kind of person in this business. To the best of my knowledge, we have agreed to no such thing. No talks are mediated by the Americans with the Pakistanis. Common sense will tell you that no Indian would agree to give Pakistan the great prize of talks while they've been pointing a gun at our heads. There's absolutely no...
Not talks as much as mediation, in the sense that it's not that the two sides are directly talking to each other.
Or mediation. I can
but
tell
that
you,
it's being mediated by the Americans. That's the American claim.
If you just look at the tweets of Jaishankar here and the Pakistani Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar there, they've both been receiving calls from various world leaders, foreign ministers, presidents, etc., national security advisors, and they've been reporting it faithfully. Jaishankar said, I had a talk with the French foreign minister, I had a talk with the UAE foreign minister, I had a talk with Mr. Rubio, I had a talk with so-and-so. And presumably, some of what Jaishankar says to Rubio, for argument's sake, Rubio may be repeating on his next call to the Pakistanis. Maybe.
Right.
Is that a mediation? I don't necessarily see it that way. I don't see Jaishankar saying to Rubio, can you please convey this message to the Pakistanis? No. Jaishankar would be speaking for India.
Right.
He'd be saying, we are doing this, we are reacting in this way, whatever.
Okay.
And then Rubio has heard this. And then when he calls the Pakistani, he says, I was talking to Jaishankar and he was saying this and this, maybe you ought to bear this in mind.
Right.
That's not a mediation. A mediation is a totally different exercise and frankly, India would not indulge in it. It's not our style, we don't want it.
So what do you think then led to the abrupt, the ceasefire from the Indian perspective? Because again, it could be turned around and said that we did get, of course, we struck Pakistani targets as well when they escalated, but we also lost a number of lives, as you mentioned, particularly in Poonch and so on. We've also taken a hit to our own, towns and cities and perhaps some military sites as well. How is that a position or a point where we felt that we needed to call it off?
Look, I think the formal assessments, particularly international assessments by strategic studies and defense experts, will take a little while to come. But from what I'm picking up, even amidst the fog of war, some of our hits had really shaken Pakistan, and particularly the hit on the Air Marshal Noor Khan Air Base, which is not far from General Headquarters of the Pakistani military in Rawalpindi. That, I believe, had really shaken those guys up a bit.
Okay.
And they may have thought if this escalates like this, it could seriously degrade our military capacity. So my own feeling is that the Pakistanis, don't forget the Pakistanis initiated the call. The first call at 3:35 p.m.
The call to India.
Saying, let's call this thing off, came from them. It was neither initiated by India nor by America. It's not that America called and said, hey guys, 5 o'clock, please call it off. And the others both said yes. No. It was the DGMO Pakistan calling the DGMO India and
Director
saying,
General of Military
Operations, which is a hotline that exists. But we've always had this hotline even during wars.
Of course.
And that's something which, as far as I'm concerned, does not suggest to me that India blinked in any way. If anyone blinked, it seems to have been the Pakistanis. But again...
But you're right, there is a fog of war aspect here. CNN was reporting that there was a call from Marco Rubio to the Indians saying that there's a alarming escalation likely on the weekend from the Pakistani side if both sides don't stand down. These are now matters of, at some point maybe we'll have more information or we may not.